Industry's most wanted, BK Just here. Brooklyn meets Atlanta. You already know. Holla back.
This that try and swing music, that Iron King music, that fire theme music, that fighter scream music, that rider dream music, that how to win music. These verses make movies, it's trying to make music.
What's going on? It is your girl, Tampa Mystic, and we're back with another episode of what?
Industry's most wanted.
The big one, not the little one. We doing everything big around here. Like Brooklyn, in the building. BK Just, what's going on, family? How you doing?
I'm all right.
Okay. Let me... You see that gun?
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the Tampa Gun Show.
That BK gun right there, though.
Listen, I want to say on camera, because I just told you a minute ago, I really appreciate you because you always tune in and support my virtual interviews. You're very interactive with the guests that are on there. You follow them. So I just want to say face to face on camera, thank you for just showing genuine love and support. It means a lot.
I mean, you don't have to thank me for you being you. You know, I'm going to follow whatever's genuine and whatever's sound and makes sense.
Yeah.
So, you know, some artists that get on there, they really be having some in-depth things to teach people. And
yes.
I think that's the biggest thing about the music industry, just because everybody's holding everything close to the chest.
Yeah.
So they not telling you everything. So when you find somebody that has a little bit of wisdom, you want to tap into them and make sure you get something out of it.
Absolutely, because I feel like we can take a little bit of something from everybody. Even some of the younger artists, they be teaching me about some of this technology that didn't exist. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I try to pull a little bit of something for everybody. And the people who don't, we got to give them some grace. Y'all still got some growing to do. But you grew up in Brooklyn, like we said, but you're now based in Rochester.
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about that because, you know, living in two cities, you know, is the environment fairly different from Brooklyn to Rochester?
Well, to be honest, people from New York City, and I'm talking about the five boroughs and everything like that, they tend to feel like there's nothing outside of New York, but there's a whole lot outside of New York. And Rochester is no different. It ain't where you from, it's where you at.
That is a fact.
And you definitely going to run across the same element wherever you go. I've seen it in Ohio. Shout out to my peoples out in Ohio.
Yeah.
Chi-Town, Jersey, everywhere. LA. You're going to find the same element everywhere. So when I'm dealing with people from Rochester and, you know, they have so much to offer and there's a lot of talent there, but they can't get anywhere because it's almost like it's a battle royal for the top spot. And that's why you got to pay respect to what the South did and try to show everybody that artists can come together for the common purpose of elevating, you know, a sound, a wave. And I think that's the part that just kind of like puts Rochester in the box because they really need to merge together. So I'm not even from Rochester, but I'm going to promote Rochester and put Rochester on the map. Yeah. So shout out to those people out there, you know, my producer, Steinway Graham, my man Don Biggest, Southside you know, just mentioning a few people. So, yeah.
Most definitely. And you're absolutely right. I feel like, you know, that's why Atlanta is advanced because people here really support each other. They work together. Yeah, you get some people that bicker from time to time, but then they come back together. Like Lucci and Thug, they did a whole record together after they had all that bickering. We only are here one time.
Right.
We only get one shot at life. If it's fixable, fix it.
Right.
Whether it's a family member, a friend, you know, an acquaintance, if it's fixable, fix it.
Right.
Because we only got one shot at life and eventually we're all going to check out. And I don't want to go to my grave with any animosity on my heart towards anybody.
Right.
That's important.
Yeah, you just don't want to carry that energy. I mean, everybody should be focusing on a higher vibration, positivity. You know, we should be concentrating on ascension. And, you know, it's like when you're sitting here and, you know, you're putting out your sound, you know, you got to think in terms of what are you putting out to the people? You know what I'm saying? How are you, you know, every word that you put out on record, it has a meaning.
Yes.
And when people don't give thought to what they're putting out there, you know, you could be putting out a bad energy or good energy, but for the most part, you need to be conscious
Yes.
of what you're putting out there. Content is everything,
Yeah.
but at the same time, the content really means nothing if you don't have the people.
That is facts, absolutely. And I feel like a lot of artists are chasing the wrong thing. They're chasing viral moments. They're chasing labels. Chase your supporters, chase your fans. They're the ones who are going to make you go up and through there. A label don't give a damn about you if you ain't got, you know, the numbers and the streams. They're not building artists up anymore. They want you to come packaged up, ready to go.
You know, ironically, you know, my fan base on Reverb Nation is really organic because it's music artists following me, jazz musicians, rock musicians, neo soul, blues. I even got a couple of artists following me out of Madrid, Spain.
That's dope.
I never would have thought, and I'm like, why are they so attracted to me? And I actually had an interaction with one of them, and that's another thing, you got to interact with your fans. I interacted with one of them, and they actually said that they like the instrumentation in my beats, and that's because of my producer. Shout out Steinway Grant. The instrumentation, he uses live instruments, so they attracted to that sound. So it was like, you know, when I'm talking to him, I'm like, hey, maybe we could do some work, or maybe we could share a stage one day.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely, because then their fan base becomes yours and vice versa.
Right.
You know, you could do a record. Imagine doing a record with somebody overseas, like you said, in Madrid or something. Your fan base is going to flourish.
Right.
Because their people, if they were attracted to your sound,
Right.
their people, their fans, is going to be.
Exactly.
And I agree with you that there's nothing like that live instrumentation. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It is so beautiful. So you had mentioned that you were close in the industry for years before you actually stepped into the spotlight yourself, right?
Right.
What finally pushed you to take the reins and create your own music? What was that change? What was that pivot?
So, interestingly enough, I had reached out to, you know, my brethren, Top Dog from OGC. Shout out OGC, my Duck Down family. I had reached out to him about actually ghostwriting. I wasn't even trying to step into it, but he was like, you know, hey, Big Brody, you could join me, you know, this, that, and the third. And I got things going on in South America and everything like that. So I was like, okay, well, yeah, all right. I'll put something together. So I'm like 4 tracks in, and he's still trying to work out the kinks in the deal. And it led into 8 months. 8 months later, the album is done. I'm like, how many tracks do I need? I got like 15, 16 tracks. And I'm just like, okay, he still hasn't heard anything. So I'm just like, okay, well, I went in my own direction and I pushed it on my own. And I said, you know, it's funny because he's in Chile right now. And the deal that he put together, he couldn't even get me on it. But here I am on Industry's Most Wanted on the same weekend that he's there, and I'm there. He's got his way and I got my way, but somewhere in between, we're gonna end up coming together. So, you know, that's where I'm at. And like my mentorship, you know, it comes from the veterans and stuff like that, like General Steele and you know, guys like that, and you know. And I mean, for me, I think I get more satisfaction from just doing it on my own and not having to rely on my brothers. I just know that when I reach a certain point, I can call on them.
Yes.
So
I agree with you on that, because you see, I'm here alone. Like, I really work well by myself. I do have a videographer who comes and films my mic drop performances, but interview wise,
Right.
I enjoy being here by myself. You know, I've had people come in and help me from time to time, and it's cool, but I be moving so fast sometimes. I'm just like, y'all got to catch up. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I get that, you know, and people will step up and come to when it's needed, when it's necessary.
right.
Makes perfect sense. Most definitely. So I want to talk about your single called BKNY.
Right.
Man, that's a direct I would say a direct nod to your roots. You know, you from Brooklyn, New York. You know what I'm saying? Brooklyn, the heart. What does Brooklyn mean to you personally, like as a city, you know, and how do you really aim to represent it through your music or through this record?
Well, Brooklyn was the origin. It ain't the foundation.
Yeah.
My foundation can always be placed elsewhere, but it'll always be my origin, you know, and Brooklyn, you know, it's just like my clothing line, you know, the slogan behind Prosciutto is it's more than a brand, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So Brooklyn and Prosciutto go hand in hand. It's a lifestyle. So it's just how I walk and how I talk it. It's how I live it. So,
are there any stigmas about Brooklyn as a city, not necessarily music related, that you want to clear the air on?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness.
Give us a couple.
Let me tell y'all this, right? Let me be honest with y'all. Brooklyn has a reputation for being some of the grimiest dudes. Not all of us are grimy. Some of us have integrity. Okay? We're not all out to rob you. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Listen, we had to clear the air because I feel
Definitely.
like every city, I hear it often, has like a stigma or something about it. And we got to clear the air because you are absolutely right. Anywhere you go, there's going to be grimy people.
Right.
Even in the smallest little towns, there's going to be grimy people, but it doesn't mean the entire population is like that.
Right. But the one thing I can say about Brooklyn is that you're going to find Brooklyn everywhere. And that's the mentality behind BKNY, you know, because some people have been so far removed from being in Brooklyn or living in Brooklyn, and it just reminds them, you know.
And as you know, New York is very fast paced. I'm sure there's some slower areas, just like everywhere else. But you know, like I've been to New York City. I've been to, where else have I been up there? Mainly New York City, but it's very, very fast paced. But do you feel like Atlanta's a little bit more fast paced now? Like you out here, you was talking about that traffic and stuff.
I would not say that. In my eyes, I didn't see fast pace. I saw the same. I seen the same type of traffic, but not as bad as New York. We know how to maneuver through that. This was just some crawl. I was just like really annoyed with it. But outside of that, you know, to go into a Chinese restaurant and all they want to give you is healthy food. Can I get some of the fried stuff? Please.
They're trying to help you live longer, bro. Like, come on now.
Yeah, you know. So
let's keep it G. They're trying to help you live a little longer.
No, I don't want any tofu in my food. Thank you.
No, I'm not a tofu either at all. Most definitely. What is your favorite food to eat? Like that's truly a New York staple, or maybe a Brooklyn staple.
Wow. I have a couple of things that I would eat off the rip. The first thing I would eat, as soon as I touch down, I gotta have a pastrami and cheese.
I bet they got some bomb ones.
Yes, they know how to melt that just right and fry it up just right. The other thing is no matter what, I know it's going to tear my stomach up, but I'm going to still stop at White Castle. Get some of the murder burgers.
Just make sure you don't go anywhere afterwards.
Right.
What about pizza? They got great pizza?
They do, but I just can't do the sauce anymore.
Yeah, me neither. It upsets my stomach.
I get the heartburn. And I just
me too.
don't even want no part of it.
Yeah.
So
I know, and I can't do a lot of dairy either because
that part,
my digestive system is not digesting the way it used to. It went downhill as I got older.
Right.
Everything had to change. So let's talk about the debut album, Outside the Box.
Yes.
About 8 months it was in the works.
Yeah.
And I like that because you truly did take your time with it.
Yeah, I was focused. You know, shout out to my cousin Chaos. He also was in the industry as well.
Yeah.
He was in the same Source magazine as Big and but he actually got 5 mics too. Honestly, when it came to the album, I had a mindset.
Yeah.
Right? And I went in the direction that everybody was going. And it was aggressive, and it was, you know. Then I had to really think about it. You know, I had to take the artist hat off and put the CEO hat on, because at the end of the day, it's a business. And Steve Style put it best. He said, "We're not in the business of finding talent. We're in the business of selling records." So my friends are not going to be the ones that actually buy my music.
Right.
It's going to be who I target, which is why I targeted Cross Seas. You know,
Exactly, because they're big supporters of like American hip hop.
exactly. So it's like, you know, when it comes to hip hop and everything like that, they genuinely support us.
Yes.
Right? And in the United States, it's competition. You know, you're my enemy. You know, oh, I could kill you on the mic. And yeah, I've been killed 20 times over. I'm still here. So, you know, I don't know, man. I feel like watching hip hop from the beginning. Yes, I'm here. I've been here that long. Watching hip hop from the beginning to where it is now, I feel like music lost its soul.
Elaborate on that a little bit, because I think this is a beautiful topic to bring up, because hip hop's probably 51 years old now. I think
Yes.
51, and I'm 51, so it was birthed around
Well,
the
they
same
just
time.
had the 30th, the 50th. Right?
50, but I think that was like a year ago.
Yeah.
So it's probably 51, but I'm guessing. So it's 50, 51-ish.
51, 52. Yeah.
Somewhere in there. Do you like the direction that it has went in at all?
I feel like I was saying, I feel like music lost its soul. The thing about music is that music is supposed to be uplifting. Music is supposed to give you a good vibration. And I feel like people have entered the game with one mindset: show me the bag.
Yeah.
Right? And it became about money. And the content that has been coming out has been so sinister and violent. And, you know, you go in the club and you don't have a feel-good track like that.
Right.
Right? And when you know, a lot of people vacation, they go on these cruises and stuff like that. You know, when you looking at the music, what are they going to play of yours? And I'm talking to the artists out there. What music of yours are you going to hear on a Carnival cruise? You know, so you gotta think about that type of content, because people usually party when they're on these cruises.
Correct.
And going on these vacations and going to these clubs across seas, you know. And for guys in the industry now to not be able to really tour their own country simply because of the content that they put out, and, you know, the you know, is you
I totally get it, you know, because I often ask some of these younger artists, do you have a family friendly record? And they'll look at me like I got three heads. They don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, do you have a song that I could play at a family function that 5-year-olds could even listen to?
Right.
A lot of them don't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not throwing shade, but I feel like you should have a variety of music in your catalog.
Right.
Like you said, that could be played on a cruise ship, because some of these cruise ships are family friendly.
Exactly.
And then the other thing I want to add to that I had this conversation with somebody yesterday. Artist, when you send your song out, compare it to your favorite celebrity artist. If the quality don't sound pretty comparable to theirs, you probably shouldn't be sending it out, because I get a lot of artists trying to submit songs for rotation.
Right.
And it's not even mixed. It's clearly don't have a mix on it. And I'm like, how do you not know this don't sound good?
Right.
The song itself might be okay, what they're talking about, but there's no mix on it.
Right.
So it's like, if you can't play this song next to a Jeezy record, or to a, you know, even going back to Biggie, you know what I'm saying? Or
Right.
whoever, if you can't play it next to that comparison wise to sound quality, then you shouldn't be putting it out.
Right.
Period.
Right. So it's like, you know, and that's what having a good producer does. You should have a good producer, because a good producer not only produces the beat for you, but the producer actually gives the track the life.
Yeah.
You know, see, like with my producer, I could go to him with an idea, right? And he could bring that to life, right? But he knows the insides and outs as far as radio quality and stuff like that. So, you know, a lot of these guys that's making these beats, it's more to producing than just making the beat.
Yes.
You know, because when I used to DJ, shout out to DJ Juice, rest in peace. He had me come to Syracuse, and we did a set together. And what happened was, Nice and Smooth's agent was there, and they was looking for him to go on cross seas with them, but Juice wasn't going across seas for nobody. And he said, well, you know, my man Just, he and the thing about it is that when it came down to doing the project, I needed to know how to do their sound checks. I needed to know all the engineering aspects of it. Yeah, I could get behind the turntables and do some things.
Yes.
But that aspect of engineering and being responsible for sound quality and stuff like that, that's a part of the job too. And that's what people just, you know, if you're going to do a job, do everything about it, you know.
Absolutely, because and every artist that you DJ for could be a little different. Some of them may, you know, deliver their sound into the mic a little bit differently. You know what I'm saying? And you have to learn to adapt and adjust each one. So it's a craft in itself. I salute every DJ out there that has really studied their craft and understands, like you said, especially being a tour DJ. You don't want to fumble in a situation like that.
Exactly. Because when the mic goes out or there's a squeal, they're looking at you.
No, that is facts. Every single time. So the producer that you're speaking of, is it Steinway Grands, or is that just a producer that you have worked with along the way?
I've worked with quite a few producers, but I have to give it to Steinway. He is exceptional at what he do. Yeah. And he's actually pretty brilliant when it comes to it. And you hear it in the sound quality. Yes. You know, a lot of things that guys don't use is the instrumentation. He understands the notes and the quantizing and all of that stuff, because that's from the old school. They don't take the time to do that. They just put the beats together and think that's it. And there's more to it. So, and it's the same thing with rapping, you know?
What would you say, in your opinion, is the greatest hip hop song of all time?
Wow. The greatest hip hop song of all time. I can't even give an answer to that one.
Give me at least one. It could be in ties with others, but give me one.
Wow. I mean, because, you know, you have so many that is great.
Give me three.
But
give me your top three. How about that?
I could give you my top influences. Okay. Okay. So Rakim's Check Out My Melody. That line where he was like, my melody that I'm stylish, smooth as a violin, rough enough to break New York from Long Island. That was, I'll never forget that. I got to give it to Nas and Coogee Rap with The Fast Life. I still can't put, I don't know.
That's okay. You gave me a good answer, because listen, even though I'm a Florida baby, I grew up listening to Eric B. and Rakim. You know what I'm saying? Like some of the greatest ever to do it. They deserve all their flowers, all their homage, most definitely. And then you mentioned Nas as well, which is absolutely one of the greatest ever. I know that's a difficult question, but I just wanted to see.
It is. Because you got a lot of them out there.
There is. Did you, growing up, let me ask you this. You from New York. Did you listen to any Southern rap coming up? Like, you know, Atlanta's historically known for Outkast, Goody Mob. Was that ever on your radar?
I am going to be completely honest about this.
Yeah, I want you to be.
In New York, it was all New York rap. Okay, I didn't hear any West Coast, South Coast, whatever
Southern
coast,
music, yeah.
whatever coast you was on. I didn't hear the music until I got to Rochester. The first song I heard was Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
And I was like, what is this? And the song they played after that was, and it was to Pick Up the Papers in the Trash.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? And, they was like, oh, these guys out of, And then the other song that they played was NWA Straight Outta Compton. And it caught my attention.
Yeah.
You just can't get past that Straight Outta Compton.
Man, NWA is
That
some of the
beat
greatest
was
ever.
just-
Yeah.
But when it came to their bars, right, I have to be honest, like, New York rappers pride themselves in the penmanship of rap, whereas West Coast, South, they'll rhyme words in a way that they could rhyme it in their dialect.
Yeah.
So when you hear it, you're like, how do you rap that word with this word? And you're like,
Right. They make it fit because of their dialect. I get it.
So after a while, it started to make sense, right? But what really made me pay attention to what the South had to say, or Midwest and everything like that, was when I actually paid attention to Hammer's approach. Hammer came out with Let's Turn This Mother Out.
Yeah.
And he started off by saying, Hammer, you ain't hitting in New York. And I kid you not, when you actually listen to the song, I'm just like, okay, all right. And
Shout out to MC Hammer.
shout out Hammer. So it's like, okay, so he do got something to say. And then Scarface, that's my G.
Yeah.
And if I ever had to say I wanted to collab with somebody on the rap side, it would definitely be Scarface.
He's a legend.
It's just the way he delivered things, and it's just like, man. And you hear that in a lot of my music. I mean, he's an influence in that way, because he let me know that it's okay to talk about stuff, but have a direction, a vision, a lesson.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to keep it real, but it's just another to glorify what's real.
Absolutely, because there are some things that are glorified in music that should not be glorified in music. And let's keep it G. If y'all ain't learned over these last couple of years that them folks, they gonna use your words against you to incriminate you, even if what you're talking about is fugazi. They're gonna try to make it seem like you really did what you said in that song.
Yeah.
So it's like the whole freedom of speech goes out the window,
Right.
in that scenario, because you're obviously doing something that you're on them folks' radar.
Right.
And they're going to use it against you. They did it with Thug and, all these other artists that are incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, be mindful. Because I feel like you can produce a great song without putting all that extra nonsense in there.
Absolutely.
Even without using profanity, you can make a great song.
That was another thing that I had took the time to do on this album. So I do have some swearing in it.
Of course, yeah. I mean, nothing wrong with that.
And it's a couple of tracks because that's just the tone of the track, like FAAFO. I just had to do that song because
Fuck
it was
around and
catchy.
find out.
Yes. So I mean, it was catchy, and at the same time, the message behind it was like,
You can't bleep that out. You
Yeah,
gotta say it. Because I believe in that. You gonna fuck around and find out today.
absolutely, you gonna fuck around and find
Find
out.
out today. You know what I'm
Fuck around
saying?
and find out. Fuck around and find out.
You heard what he said. But you're right. There are some songs where you just gotta have that profanity in there.
Right, but the direction that I went with the album was like, I wanted to stay true to myself, but at the same time, I had tried to key in on a particular audience and stuff like that, and basically, I tried to give men a voice, like with Trust. Like I could have took that song in another direction,
Yeah.
but when it comes to relationships, like women put a kind of pressure on a relationship, and when a man is giving his all, you know, a woman is not. It is not enough for the woman. She's like ready to bail on him, and you know that's what I gave to trust.
Yeah,
you know, and when it came to Girls Look So Good, you know, it was just men saying, yeah, we have a choice too.
Absolutely, you do.
You know, and you know, honestly, it's like you got women out here being like, "Oh, I got my own house, I got my own car, I got this, I got that," and you know, what does that mean to a man who may have that and more?
Right.
It means nothing. So it's like, how do we come together in this? You know, and you got to put aside egos. In order to merge and become one.
I agree on that. Definitely.
So that's, you know, where I went with the album, is just like giving it a voice. But the thing that I really invested in the album is making sure that the music was up tempo, because the music that's been coming out has been dark. And I just wanted, like I said, I felt like it lost soul.
Right. We need something uplifting because there's a lot of already ugliness and darkness going on in the world.
Right.
We don't need it in our music too. And I get, you know, some artists want to put pain records out, and I enjoy them too, because if I'm having a crazy day, one of them pain records might help me get my emotions out.
Right.
But you got to have that uplifting music, because I feel like music is therapy.
Yes.
And if I'm trying to spice myself up to get up and go out to go wherever, I need some uplifting music to make it happen, not something that's going to make me cry.
Right. The one song that I got criticized for the most was "We Gonna Party." Right. And they was like, you know, New York, son, what you doing? I'm like, what? It was like, why would you even put that on the album?
But
I'm gonna laugh all the way to the bank with that song, because that is probably my biggest song right now.
I love that. Listen, I feel like you have to do what's right for you.
Right.
Because no matter what we do, I say this all the time, someone's going to have something to say.
Always.
Like, you could be doing the absolute best, they're going to talk about you. You could be doing the absolute worst, they're going to talk about you. So just do you. Even if it bends the rules a little bit and it's not hurting nobody,
right?
Who cares?
Right.
Bend them New York rules, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Give them something to talk about.
Right.
So you've been, you know, creating, performing, releasing music independently. Everything that you've done.
Being independent has been a struggle.
Let's talk about that. What would you say has been one of, because there's probably a few struggles, what's one of the biggest struggles that you've endured as an independent artist?
The biggest struggle is finding genuine people. You know, you're going to run across the people that's just looking to use you.
Yeah.
And they're going to lead you in different directions. And like I said, they hold all the information close to their chest, which is why, you know, you got to take off the artist hat and put on a CEO cap. You know, you got to think like a businessman, because, you know, even when you're on these platforms doing these podcasts, you need to know that you're auditioning for the next level.
That's right.
So
you never know who's going to see it.
Right. So they all watching, you know, and if they feel like you're somebody that they can't do business with, guess what? You're not going to go nowhere.
Yeah.
But you got to show them that you're on top of your game, you're intelligent, and that you know how to articulate yourself and in a way, in a manner that would constitute somebody taking you serious. So
I absolutely agree with you. And I don't, you know, what other platforms do, that's their business. Kudos to them.
Right.
But that's why I don't allow people to smoke on here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't even typically, you made me curse today. Fuck around and find out. But
I didn't make her.
I'm just kidding. But like, I normally don't even use profanity during my interviews, only because it's like, I want to be family friendly, like I was talking about. If you want your kids to watch this interview, they're not going to see people smoking blunts and cursing. And again, no shade, but I want like a well-rounded audience.
What's funny is that, you know, when there's some church people that actually heard the song and they was like, even though it's cussing on it, I like it. You know, and when you look at the video, right? And I take pride in this. Even though my content matter suggests or implies that I would get violent, you don't see that in my video. I'm not promoting that.
Yeah.
You know? So I took it in a different direction, which is why you see the basketball player and all of that stuff. So, you know, it's like that's the part that's missing from music. Creativity, being different, stepping outside of the box.
Yes.
In order to step out of the box, you got to think outside the box. So
that's a good one right there. Y'all take heed to what he just said, because they oftentimes try to copy other people.
Right.
No, you want to
Right.
stand out. You ain't trying to fit in.
right. That's why I love Coast Contra. I love you guys, man. Y'all guys, y'all are different. I've heard it before. I mean, I've seen it before, but y'all are different in this era.
I love it. Yeah, I love it too. Definitely. And so you mentioned like what's been a struggle. What are you most proud of, you know, Mr. BK Just, out of all your accomplishments, everything you've done? What's one of your top accomplishments that you're super proud of and you need to pat yourself on the back for?
Oh wow. It's so much, you know. I've actually wrote a book, completing the album. Everybody thinks like this is my first album. It's not my first album. It's third. It's just that, you know, back in the days, you know, you had to go through so many channels to even get somebody to listen to you. You know, so for the most part, I think just breaking through the industry like I am, because, you know, some of these guys are just now getting their masters back and stuff like that. And, you know, we're all on the same playing field right now, you know, and we're all trying to establish ourselves, but I already came in already established as a brand. And I think that's the thing I'm most proud of, is just being a brand on its own. So.
And that's what you are. You as an artist or a brand, technically you should own your name.
Exactly.
Because otherwise I could go buy it and try to sell it back to you. I'm just saying, you know, like,
For sure though.
which we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But I do want to ask you this. Do you feel like, I'm a firm believer, I'm going to elaborate on what I'm about to talk about, that there's no age limit on what we want to do. Like, I'm 51 and there's people doing this that are probably 21, and they might look at me saying, oh, she's too old to be doing that. You know what I'm saying? But that's not necessarily my question, because I think you're going to agree with me that there's no age limit on this. However, as a music artist, do you feel like it comes to a certain point where they need to maybe kind of switch what they're talking about in their music as they season and get a little older?
When it comes to music, people are only going to put out what they're actually living, right? And I think when it comes to the age in music, rap is the only genre of music that have put a cap on.
I agree.
Cap on it.
Yes.
But I'm gonna tell you, when rap first started, they didn't even have a rap catalog, right? And they really had to compete with Michael Jackson and Aretha Franklin and Patti LaBelle and all of them. They really had to compete for a nomination against those people, right? And, you know, hip hop has finally gotten the recognition that it deserved. And when you look at hip hop, you know, hip hop is included in everything, commercials, you know, theme songs, or kids, you know, TV. And basically, like, why are we putting an age limit on what artists are doing of age when we was always the foundation so that you young guys can grow in it, you know? And I've heard it all. I mean, I had people looking at me scratching their head, you know, and it's funny because a very close friend of mine said to me, you know, what 50-year-old, you know, coming into the game now is making an impact. And I was just like, wow, can't believe you said that.
Right.
Because you have all of these artists that just came back into the game because, you know, they see where rap is gone, you know, and like I said, it's almost to a point where it's almost lifeless, you know, and they trying to breathe back into it what is lost. And I believe that's the soul, the heart of hip hop. It lost its heart, you know. So, I mean, to you young artists out there, it's all right to have your like what they said in Hustle and Flow. He said every man has the right to spit a verse, you know. But you know, when you look at hip hop and you look at music as a whole, man, make sure that you giving music your heart. Give it all, you know, or not at all.
Man, thank you for saying that, because I feel like a lot of artists need to hear it from another artist,
Right.
a more seasoned artist,
Right.
because a lot of them are playing with it. They
Yeah.
don't really want it, and they
Right.
can't convince me no different. They're not out here. They're trying to skip every single step and go straight to the top. And to me, that says you don't really want it. If you're not willing to endure the struggles, the ups, the downs, you don't really want it.
Right.
And think about artists that came out pre-social media,
Right.
pre-Spotify and Apple Music. Think about how
Right.
hard they had to work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like artists today, it's a luxury for them.
Right.
So like you said, put your heart and your soul into it. Otherwise, I don't believe that you really want it.
Right. I mean, if you're really entering it for the bag, I'm gonna tell you, there is no bag. Okay, there's no bag, because there's no tangible commodity.
Yeah.
Everything's being streamed. So yeah, you can have everything on you know, your distributor, TuneCore, or whoever, and basically you could be getting the streams and stuff like that, but a person with a Spotify or Apple Music account or whatever can listen to your music for free, pretty much.
Yeah.
You
$10 a
and
month.
they can stream it as much as they want.
Yeah.
So you're not receiving, you know, I mean, the industry, they tore it up, you know, and it's like you have to be creative in the business aspect of it and find a way, you know, whether it's your merch or, you know, anything that's tangible that make people purchase what you have, because the music is just it's an entry ticket. That's what I'm gonna call music. It's an entry ticket, and you know, you got to have everything in place, you know, and marketing, that's on you. See, labels will do that for you and give you the money, but the reality is that you're gonna pay them back 10 times fold. You're gonna pay them back 10 times fold. So when you're doing it on your own, and see, it's funny because, you know, like when my son was in school, right? We used to go buy school clothes and stuff like that, and I said, listen, just give him the money and see what he do with it.
Yeah.
So we gave him $500 and let him go. That boy came back with 5 outfits, a pair of sneakers, a vest, and a couple of hats, and had $100 and some change left over. So, you know, when they spending their own money,
Yeah.
you treat it differently. You know, when the money is being handed to you, you know, you do frivolous things. You want to go out, buy the big chains, get the big whip, the house, and all of that stuff. But the reality is you still have to maintain that stuff, you know? And me, when you got it already, that ain't your interest.
That's right.
So for me, it's all about the love of it, you know?
That is facts. You sound a lot like what my OG Bigger Rankin said to me when I first got in this business. He said, if you get into the business for the money, you'll be disappointed because, like you said, the money ain't always going to be there.
Right.
But if you get into it for the love, the money will eventually make its way into you because you're so in love with what this doing that you're not focused on the bag.
Right.
That's where people get frustrated and they jump in and out because they're like, why am I not making no money? You know how long and how many interviews I did before I made a dime off of it? A ton. You know, like,
exactly.
And I spent 3 years working on Desert Storm Radio. You know, shout out to DJ Clue, man. That's where I first got my major break in radio many years ago.
Right.
And I'm forever grateful for that, because I feel like perhaps if I hadn't had an opportunity, would I be where I'm at today? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but I was doing all that for free back then.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, don't think you're going to come in this business and make money out the gate day one.
Right.
You talked about, you know, having like merch or something that's actually, if I purchase your song, perhaps I can get a bucket hat with it, or I can get a shirt with
Right.
it. Tell us about your brand.
So basically, Peixoto is the great grandmother's maiden name, and basically,
Is that where I need to bring this out?
yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
Keep going. We're gonna be on this
so
camera.
basically,
for a second.
with Peixoto, that's a signature merch. Shout out to my brother Fred. He the one that designs most of the looks. I definitely come in with the creativity as well.
There's pink and black. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oh, I'm a
So
sucker. I love it. These are so dope.
That's from the Peixoto Pearl line. That's the women's line.
This is like the perfect size shirt, man. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I know I'm interrupting you, but I'm in awe right now. These are so beautiful.
Right. So that's the
love
Peixoto
these.
Pearl right there. Right here, I'm wearing the Peixoto Yachtmaster. That's part of a signature
I
line. So,
love these. Like,
yes.
because let me just say this real quick, and I'm going to speak for all women in the world. Most women, when we wear a t-shirt, we
Right.
want it to fit like it's a woman's t-shirt.
Right.
No shade, but a lot of men will give me these boxy men type t-shirts. and
Right.
I won't wear them a lot of times because I don't like how I look in it.
Right.
This accentuates a woman's
Right.
curves and stuff, because you could tell this
It's a woman's shirt.
It's a woman's shirt.
Right.
Thank you for that.
Because a lot of people, you know, they try to jump into it, and they
Oh, it's reversible?
yes.
I keep interrupting him. Look, y'all, it's reversible. Who's doing that? That is fire. Y'all thought of everything.
Yeah, we did.
OMG. And the funny thing is, the only type of hat that I will ever rock is a bucket hat.
Right.
I used to wear like, you know, snapbacks back in the day, but I don't know, this is me right here.
Right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just so excited.
No. So yeah, when it comes down to it, you know, a lot of people jump into it, and you know, they just create stuff, but you know, you have to understand material. You have to understand sizes and, you know, weathering and all of that stuff. So when you get into something, make sure you understand it.
Right, because people come in all shapes and sizes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, maybe I wear the same size shirt as this young lady over here, but my body shape is different, if
Right.
that makes sense. So it's like you got to kind of find something that is not necessarily a one size fits all, but can cater to different
Right.
people. So what all do you have available for people to purchase from you right now?
We had the signature Peixoto. We have the Pearl Master line, Peixoto Pearl. We had the Yachtmaster line.
He's tugging at my heartstrings. I'm sorry.
We had the Yachtmaster. We had the Peixoto Sport. You know, we actually had our hands in the MMA fighting world too. You know, so we 20 years in the game with this.
That is amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah.
To be able to sustain with doing something, I feel like in this era for that amount of time speaks a lot for your integrity.
Because you have to adjust to it. You know, everything changes.
Get on board or get left behind.
Right. Which is why, like, some of these rappers, you know, they can't keep up with the time because they haven't changed.
They're stuck in their ways.
Mm-hmm.
They are stuck in their ways. And I want to kind of slightly go back to something you said earlier, and it kind of fits into with what you're saying, is that I'm seeing a lot of old school artists make a comeback.
Right.
Not that they ever fell off. They just kind of scaled back because, you know, they maybe got a little older or whatever. And I'm loving that for them.
Right.
Like, I just interviewed the Funky Bunch recently.
Yeah, I was.
And we got some work coming together, y'all. I can't tell you what it is, but we got some special work coming together.
If y'all got room on the stage for me, I will definitely show up.
Holla at your boy. Exactly.
I'll definitely show up.
Because
I love the stage. I love it.
I love that I see a lot of these true lyricist, a true artist, you know,
Right.
whatever, MCs, if you want to call them, making their comeback into the industry, you know, because like you said, where the state of hip hop is now, it's a little lost in the sauce. We're going
Right.
to just say it like that. He got me a book, y'all, too. Cartier Diamond is a woman's best friend unless that means I got to read the entire book.
Absolutely. So, you know, for those that don't know, that is the government name right there. And yeah, I wrote that book.
Wow. Richard L. Saxton.
That's me.
Is it Richie for short?
No, only person that called me that is my mom.
I'm just messing with you. So, Leah, let's dive in and talk about it a little bit. You know, you're a whole author.
Right.
You are a whole author. Like, you have your clothing brand. You're an artist. You said you DJ'd at one point in time in your career.
Right.
What inspired you to put pen to paper to actually write a book?
The writing came natural because my mom, she was a poet, you know, and it was funny because when I did write the book, my mom said, "Wow, you're an author." And I looked at her and was like, "What?" She was like, "You know, some people write, but no, you wrote a whole book
And published it.
And yeah. And the funny thing about it is that I didn't trust publishing companies. So I actually started my own publishing company first before releasing the book.
Good for you.
So everything you do, you got to make it come full circle.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the stuff that we do is always a middleman. So, you know, you just gotta get familiar with the business. You know, everybody's just stuck on just being an artist or being a writer or just, you know, but you gotta understand the business if you're gonna do anything with it. So,
Where can people purchase the book from you?
oh, the book is on Amazon, you know, so basically, like, I didn't really push the book like I should have.
Yeah.
You know, I have to admit that I was kind of shy about the book, and I had somebody, and I had a fan page and everything like that, and there was a part in the book that actually had a scene in there, and the person asked me about the scene, and that's when I knew that the stuff that I was writing really touched them, because there was an actual rape scene in there, and I was so detailed about it. You know, like a lot of the writing that people do, they always describe the clothes, the car, the house. You know, the difference in my writing is that I went into a mindset of each character, and when you reading it, you're in the head of these actual characters and what they're thinking.
Yes.
So the person asked me, they said, "Were you a victim or a victimizer?" And it was weird of a question,
Yeah.
but I had to tell him, like, you know, I heard so many stories, you know, and somebody close to me, you know, shared it with me.
Yeah.
And I was able to paint a picture of their pain, and it touched them because they understood it, you know. And it's funny how the things that we create, you know, draw people to us. You know, like, people can see your aura, your energy, you know, and it's like when you're casting the light, people will follow.
Yes. And it's almost like you're giving a voice to the voiceless. And what I mean by that is, for example, if a young lady or man has been sexually assaulted,
Right.
been raped,
Right.
a lot of them won't talk about it because there's that stigma that people aren't going to believe them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of people hold it in. And then years later, they have, you know, mental health issues and stuff
Right.
going on. So I feel like with you painting this picture, you're giving a voice to the voiceless, if that makes sense.
Right.
Not to say that you don't have a voice. I feel like you should speak out whether you feel like people aren't going to believe you or not.
Absolutely.
You have to speak out because it's not right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So thank you for being that advocate for people who are maybe afraid to speak out, to bring light on everyday real stuff that men and women endure out here. Because I'm sure don't think it's just women. I'm sure there's men who get sexually assaulted potentially by
Absolutely.
other men, you know, like
Absolutely.
men sexually assaulting young boys.
Absolutely.
You know, it's a real thing.
And it's funny because, you know, in this day of human trafficking and, you know, organ trafficking and all of that stuff, right?
Crazy.
Like, people really don't understand what's going on out here, and people don't realize that your children are being targeted. You know, I got grands, nephews, and all of that stuff, and nieces and stuff like that, and you putting your kids all on social media and stuff like that. And what's oddly strange is that these people know how to triangulate your coordination.
Sure do.
Your coordinates. And I try to tell people, please stop putting your kids on there, because, you know, you put a target on your child's back, because there are predators out there. So, you know, I can't unsee what I saw. You know, so with that being said, you know, protect the children, man.
Absolutely.
That's where I'm at.
And not only that, like, you're not even giving that child an opportunity to have an option if they even want to be online like that.
Right.
You know, and yes, every now and again you want to share a little something here or there, but when you like make a spectacle of the situation, like you said, they can become a target.
Right.
And you have to be mindful, because there's some weirdos out here who are not right in the head. They're going to come find you, and then they're going to fuck around and find out.
Absolutely.
Definitely. You have mentioned and spoken on like violence within the music industry and the struggles that a lot of independent artists face.
Right.
How do you think we, people like you and I, can create a safer space, you know, that's more supportive for artists? What do you think we can do to take that stand?
I'm glad you asked that question, because I haven't completely figured it all out.
Yeah.
Right. What I do realize is that we need more people to exercise their platforms and get people on there. You know, not for nothing, right? I'm walking in the dark with this, you know, and I'm finding out a lot of things. And that's why I'm talking the way I am about it, because I'm putting you and showing you the path that I'm walking, and I'm dropping my crumbs. Actually, I'm leaving you a slice of bread with every step that I'm taking, because like I said, they're not going to tell you anything. You know, everybody wants to make money. Everybody wants to capitalize on you. And the thing is that, you know, something so small as, hey, I want to do a show where I live at. I got to go through all this red tape. You know, listen, you got a lot of Rochester artists out there, right? And they can't even get heard on the radio in their own city because of the red tape with the radio stations. It's just ridiculous. And, you know, when you're talking to the people and you're talking to other DJs, and, you know, I got a rapport with some of them guys that's on the radio and stuff like that. And, you know, they say the same thing, man. Oh, man, the politics, you know. And it's like, we got to find a way to step around or create something where we could dig underneath them and pop out and show them that we outsmarted them. Because right now, they got us by the short hair.
I feel like that's why stuff like this is important,
right?
Because it gives you a platform. Independent internet-based radio's super important, because if an artist wants to take a song to FM radio, let's just be honest, you're looking at probably at a minimum $100,000 at a minimum,
right?
And this ain't saturating the United States. This is going to be probably regionally,
right?
If they'll even accept that,
right?
Like, it's very, very, very expensive for these radio campaigns, and artists I spent 4 years on FM radio. Right. I know how them politics work. It's like, if you're not majorly buzzing out there, they're not spinning you on their station, because it's going to decline their listening base.
Right. So it's funny because, you know, like it's just like I said, you got to do your own work. I submitted my music on every radio station in the country and still couldn't get heard. still couldn't get heard. I had to actually like go to the internet radio stations.
Yeah.
And now I started getting my spins and my rotations and stuff like that. And to the point where, you know, they can't deny me now.
Yes.
You know, I've made an impact. I've made an impact, especially with BKNY.
Absolutely. And you know, like with these internet stations, of course, mine report major salute to Digital Radio Tracker. Digital Radio Tracker, to my knowledge, now Apple Music is tracking some music as
Right.
well, but I'm not familiar with it enough to talk about it. But like Digital Radio Tracker has been supporting, they do track FM radio as well,
Right.
but they track a lot of internet-based stations, and that
Right.
allows independent artists to chart.
Right.
It allows independent artists to get plaques.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like there are advocates out here for independent artists. You guys got to take advantage of that.
Right.
It's going to cost you a little money because it's a business. It costs money to run these stations. It costs
Right.
money to produce these plaques. But guess what? It's going to be a whole lot cheaper than that 100 stacks to go to FM radio.
Right.
You know?
I'm gonna be honest with you. When it came to the ASCAP, the BMI, and all of that stuff, you know, I got everything going through TuneCore right now.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm seeing the streams, but I'm not seeing the streams. I didn't register with my ASCAP until I hit your station. All right. And then I started hitting stations like it. Now I'm starting to register with my ASCAP and BMI and all of that stuff. These are the little things that people don't want to tell you. I'm telling you how to do this because at some point we gotta take music back, because where it's at, music is just, you know, something that we want to do, but we can't grow in because so many people with a stranglehold on it. So
Gatekeepers, they don't want to pass the knowledge. And I'm going to throw one more and add to what you said. As an independent artist, you need to register with BMI or ASCAP, one or the other. You also want to register your music with Mediabase. That way, if it does touch FM radio, you're going to get tracked. One of the important ones that a lot of artists miss is Sound Exchange. Sound Exchange tracks digital
Right.
radio, internet radio,
Right.
Pandora, Sirius XM.
right,
And the kicker is it's free.
right,
It don't cost you a dime. The thing is, you have to keep up with it. Every time you release a new song, make sure you're uploading it and registering it with your ASCAP or BMI,
Right.
with your media base. If you Song Trust as well, because Song Trust, that's another thing. Like if I have one of your songs playing in one of my videos and it goes viral, that Song Trust tracks stuff like that.
right.
But you can't just pay for it one time and do nothing with it. You gotta register each and every song. That's where the
Absolutely.
admin stuff comes in.
Absolutely. and you know, it's funny because I'm glad that, you know, I'm on this podcast today because, you know, I was the one that was sitting at home and I'm watching the show and I'm in the comments asking questions to certain individuals that I felt like they had something to offer and all of that stuff. And, you know, you're not getting your questions answered and stuff like that. So my thing is like, that's why I took the conversation this direction, because I want you guys to understand what goes into this.
Yes.
It's more than just getting on the mic, saying what you got to say, do a video, and that's it. It's more to this, especially if you're going to be independent and be your own brand. I can't stress it enough. And you know, if you want to holler at me, you can come to my website or, you know, therealbkjust.com, you know, leave your mailing address, or basically you could hit me up on Instagram at therealbkjust. If you got questions,
Yeah.
you know, I'm willing to answer what questions to the best of my ability, because, you know, not for nothing, I don't have all the answers, you know, but I am walking this path and I'm writing stuff down as I go, because, you know, I want to pass the knowledge on, because there's a lot of artists out there that don't even they don't even copyright the music.
No.
They just release it.
Yes.
You know, it's funny because somebody else could take the same song and make it theirs, and you can't get a dime for it.
And you're absolutely right. And I know majority of them don't, because I'm going to tell you how I know. When I upload this video, once I edit it to YouTube, if I put a clip of the song at the intro, YouTube going to let me know if it's copywritten or not. Mm-hmm. They going to let me know. You know what I'm saying? Because I just had one recently. I interviewed Nathan Davis Jr. Shout out to him, doing big major things. Immediately when I upload his video, his interview, it got flagged. I had to take it down and take a song out because they wouldn't let me do anything with it.
Right.
So it's like, you're right. You got to protect yourself. That's why owning your name is important.
Right.
Copyrighting your music is important.
Exactly.
But it's all a learning process. You're not expected to come in this and know everything out the gate. You learn this as you go, because I feel like there's stuff that I'm still always learning 15 years later of doing this.
Right.
So you gave out your social media. Who do you want to give thanks to that's been just really loving you and supporting you through your journey?
Like I said, I just want to, thank the people that, basically I want to say to Top, thanks. I would have even been here if you hadn't said, fam, come rock with me. All right. So yeah, I got to acknowledge that, I got to acknowledge my cousin Chaos. I got to acknowledge, Steinway Grand. He has been a real powerful force with the music. He stands out. He stamps he puts his signature on it. But I put him in the bars. I'm making, as I become a household name, he becomes a household name. Everybody that's with me is gonna be a household name when it's done, when it's all said and done. Because we got people in it that I've been with and came in the industry with, and and you don't get that love,
right?
And basically anybody that's in these trenches with me right now, we gonna go in there together. But the other person I want to shout out, you gotta always acknowledge the significant other in your life, and that's about it.
Absolutely. Well, I want to say thank you for being here today.
Yeah.
He traveled all the way from New York down here. What else you got going on while you're in the city? Sightseeing?
I'm not doing anything. I promise you, I'm not going anywhere. My flight leaves out in the morning, and for what they told me with the shutdown and everything like that with TSA, and when I came through the airport yesterday, I was just looking at the line going out, and I was just like, yeah, this looks like a 4 a.m. type thing.
No, that is facts. That's why I haven't flown in years.
Yeah.
Because typically I just go back home, which is Florida. That's a drive away.
Yeah.
But I used to fly a lot. Now I don't know that I'd want to, unless I'm going somewhere super far, because it's a hassle. Yeah. So definitely, I appreciate you being here today. I got one last question for you. Where we at, man?
Industry's most wanted.
Put them guns on you real quick. Tell everybody what makes you the industry's most wanted.
The thing that makes me the industry's most wanted is that I'm always going to be outside the box. Always.
It's a great answer. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
And before we go, Capleton, I need to do a collab with you. I swear, I said I was going to say this on the air. Capleton, the Jamaican artist, I love him. I just, the way he delivers his sound, I would definitely want to work with him.
Got to shoot your shot.
Absolutely.
Throw it out there to the universe. That record is coming soon. That collaboration coming soon. Y'all heard it first right here. We out of here, y'all.
Funny.
We leave all you lame slumped over. We don't chase clout because we're sitting at the top. We've been on fire before we got hot. Niggas like us gonna